Alright, whenever you're ready.
Good afternoon, I'm Jazelle Mercado, and I'm very excited to be running to be your next sports coordinator. I'm a first-year pre-kin major, and PAC has always been something that I knew I wanted to be a part of, and FG was the first big event that really set the momentum for the rest of my first year. That's where I met all of my now close friends, and one of them including Garen, who was one of my first college friends, and he was always very welcoming and encouraged me to join PAC and FG. It genuinely was life-changing for me, and I hope that through this role, I can help next year's incoming freshmen and anyone new to PAC to feel the same way I did, as Glenn quotes, a home away from home. As for experiences and qualifications, I was ASB athletic commissioner in high school, organizing events like co-ed flag football and spikeball tournaments. I was a fall PAC turn and shadowed Garen during the week of FG, which gave me a lot of insight on a lot of the behind-the-scenes work. On top of that, I played basketball for 10 years, 4 years varsity and 2 as captain. And through these experiences, I was able to develop skills such as leadership qualities, adaptability, organization, and knowing how to work well and communicate with others. More than anything, these experiences and sports have brought me many friendships. I truly believe that competition and sports really creates community. And that's something I really want to emphasize this upcoming year with more activities and ideas. One of my goals is to make events that help connect not just PAC, but other cultural orgs on campus such as VSA, NSU, and CASA, and other Filipino orgs outside of LB. I'd also love to collaborate with other CAB members on events. One of the ideas I had was to host yoga nights with academic chair during finals to help everyone de-stress and take a brain break. For specific ideas for FG, I'd like to organize a committee system with specific roles, such as props, buffs, games, including coaches, and roll call. I would personally appoint heads and work as a team where I oversee them, but still allow them to have creative freedom within their roles. It would be similar to PCN with their committees and suites. As for spring semester, I know it tends to slow down compared to fall, and people that got picked up during spring or people that joined PAC a little late, they didn't get to have that same experience. So I'd like to keep spring semester just as active by incorporating small, low-commitment activities about every month, like pickleball, beach volleyball, or even beach runs. I could also push out an interest form at the beginning of the year to see what activities Gen members would be interested in. So why me as your next sports coordinator? This position requires me to be a very friendly and outgoing person. And believe it or not, I was never a natural leader, nor have I always had the courage to be outspoken. But through my experiences, I can confidently say that I am now. If elected, I hope to be a friendly face to all Gen members to help them feel the same sense of belonging and community that I do now. Thank you.
Alright, your first questions will come from Garen.
For both Eli and I, we have tried to establish committees in our FG years. How are you going to execute a successful one and list the tangible steps to how you're going to achieve that?
I have a lot of people that have already contacted me and are willing to help out with FG, and I have a few people in mind. And also, as for organization, I think it'd be really good to have like a group meet kind of type of communication where we could always have just constant communication, like as a team, and also weekly meetings just to like see how everyone's doing with their ideas and just updates about things. And as for execution, I would just always keep in constant communication with them. I think that's just very important. But I think the hardest part is getting people to help. But I just hope that I just hope that people are willing to. That's how I would execute that.
I have another part to the question.
What was the second part?
The second part is how are you going to hold accountable of those who are in committees but are not part of the PAC cabinet?
As I said, it's just really constant communication. I have, through my experiences, I know how to keep people accountable by kind of just telling them straight up like what they need to be working on or what they need to be focused on. I'm kind of a bit straightforward person. Like if you're doing something wrong, I will tell you and hold you accountable. So I think that's just very important. Like yes, having that casual kind of like friendship between us, but also a serious side to it as well.
Any more questions? Anyone have one? Or we just... All right. So this question says, with sports court's biggest event of the year being FG, a lot of preparation and logistics are needed for the event. There are so many logistics to be listed, but could you list me 4 off the top of your head that you have to worry about for the year?
Could you repeat that one more time? It was just logistics.
Yeah,
and
so like, for example, rides, or like, you have to set up like who's going to teach what games, like what type of logistics do you have to kind of keep in mind for the whole FG?
I think one of the bigger ones that you mentioned a lot was having forums. Forums were the biggest one because there was a lot that you have to do for, I know there was one for rides, there was one for the committees, and also just for people that wanted to join in general. So keeping up with forums and kind of getting those out early before like the semester even starts. Another one was kind of like the financial side of it. I think I think you did have to pay for it, and then there was a lot of forms that you also had to fill out, like waivers. So that's another big one. And what was the other one? Having like the practice props, especially for Alpine, you need to have the skis, and sometimes they will break. So having them like always kind of checked is a big one for props, and then also for the nasty when you have like the baton, but that one's a little bit easier. And another one was more of the creative side of it, having to design the shirts and coming up with themes, and also the spuffs. Those are one of the biggest ones because obviously you have the spuff during FG, but yeah.
All right, questions open to the floor.
We have one.
You said questions?
Yeah.
I got one. 1 second. All right. I got it. I lost it. So, sports are just one part of PAC's mission. How do you plan on blending Filipino culture with the sports side and making sure you take both seriously?
I think incorporating events such as, this idea was brought up to me by also James, who's running for cultural chair, about having not just events with sports, but traditional Filipino games. I think that would be a really fun event to do. Just like a one-day thing, kind of like a picnic style, like in the park, just researching what kind of like traditional Filipino games they like play back in the actual Philippines, and kind of just having a day full of those would be fun. Just to keep the culture kind of alive and remember, like just going back to our roots.
Thank you, Mr. President. Anyone else? Jazzy?
Respectfully, we'll take your place, sir.
No, disrespectfully.
But it's
I think for the codes, I feel like you guys didn't have a lot of specific roles planned out for like jobs and stuff. So I kind of talked about this with Jason and the possibility of being codes, but we kind of talked about it in a way where I would be more of like a creative side of it, like the spuffs and designing, and he would be more of the logistics side of it. So I think kind of splitting up and kind of knowing where your weaknesses and strengths are, and how to like fill those for each other. And another one that I had, I feel like the practices were a little unorganized. I personally, if I were to run practices, I would organize the teams a lot earlier so that we could build practice in just those specific teams for the games a lot earlier, so you could build team chemistry and be more prepared for the actual games.
Lots of questions.
During this past FG, there were a lot of unexpected things that occurred, such as payment issues with Gen members entering FG and people not feeling in a good condition during FG because of the weather. How would you try to problem solve if this scenario were to reoccur during your year of FG?
I think for the first part of when people weren't prepared to like come in last minute, I know we did print extra forms, but maybe having more of that, just having more forms, like kind of not even counting for people that wanted, like that reached out to you to say that they want to join last minute, like because there could be like a lot more that just don't tell you and just randomly show up. So I think having those extras would just be a lot more helpful. And as for people not feeling so well during the actual games, I think having fundraisers to raise during, like before that, having fundraisers to fund for like extra first aid supplies would be very helpful. Just to have like a big kit of it there, like for just extra waters, extra IV packs, and other first aid stuff would be really helpful. But in an event that it does happen and we're not prepared for it, if they really need to, we could bring them out of the event and having designated people to kind of take care of them outside and have designated people to take them outside of the event if they really need that, and just really taking care of them outside.
Congratulations.